Sana kayanin ng computer ka. Yan. So what word comes to mind when you hear the word physics? Punta kayo sa ano ninyo and then try to type anything, ano? Siguro mga one word lang, one word response lang. While I open my book dito sa ano ko. I will give you siguro 2 minutes to answer this problem. I-type nyo sa ano nyo, doon sa class app ninyo, doon sa class point. Di ba nag-join kayo sa class point? Doon kayo mag-type ng sagot ninyo. Okay, nakikita natin dito mga responses ninyo. Yan. Ang daming, ano, gravity. Bakit gravity? Yan, nagtalang. Hindi ko mahanap yung libro. Energy daw. Energy in motion. Yan. So, ito yung mga sagot ninyo, ano? I-highlight natin yung tatlo. Okay, so ang tatlong ano ninyo, gravity, motion, tsaka energy. Wow. So, of course, itong mga tatlong to, pag-aaralan natin, ah yung sa chapter 1, basically itong mga first chapters ng ating first chapter ng ating libro is talking about motion, ano? So, we'll talk about uh, kinematics and of course kinetics, all right? And then later on, we will talk about energy sa chapter 7, work energy and energy resources. Pag-aralan natin how motion and energy relate to each other. Yung gravity, i-introduce natin yung gravity doon sa chapter 2 when we talk about free fall. So meron na kayong basic understanding. Of course, napag-aralan nyo na to nung high school kayo. So baka mas marami pa yung alam ninyo kaysa sa akin. So, I hope we'll be learning something new dito sa topic natin, dito sa klase natin. Gawin nating worthwhile yung natin dito. So, I hope sa inyo as students, meron kayong eagerness to learn kasi itong physics is the foundation of engineering, di ba? So yung mga engineering natin is just application of physics, di ba? So civil engineering is an applied physics. Okay? So ito yung foundation natin sa mga future na major courses natin. So I hope na kahit hindi ako magaling magturo, papag-aralan nyo yung yung mga topics natin dito. Marami naman tayong mga resources. Aside from us meeting dito sa Zoom, ang dami-daming resources online. So nasa sa inyo na kung paano kayo magiging resourceful dito. Right? Pero ano ko naman, I will be very happy to help kung sino man, lahat kayo. Free naman kayo lahat mag email anytime or sa MVLE. May chat box sa MVLE, ano? I prefer yung MVLE na ano natin, na messenger natin kaysa sa Facebook Messenger. Okay, natatabunan yung mga message niyo sa Messenger kasi. Okay? All right. So, let us insert this one. And then let us close. Yan. All right. So, let's go to the next slide. Yan. So, this one is graded already. Which of the following is mali yung tanong ko. Which of the following is an application of physics in civil engineering? 'Di ba? Kasi sabi ko lang kanina that civil engineering is an applied physics, 'di ba? So, ang tanong dito, which of the following is an application of physics in our field as civil engineers? So, letter A, the interaction of atoms and molecules. B, the acoustics, heating, lighting, and cooling of buildings. C, the structural stability of buildings. D, the radioactive dating of rocks, earthquake analysis, and heat transfer on the earth. So you can answer yan. You have siguro 1 minute to answer. Yan. So 93% of you answered letter C. Ano? Letter C is the structural stability of buildings, ano? Which is the correct answer, letter C. So when we talk about structural stability, papag-aralan natin yan sa structural engineering. Ito mostly yung ano natin, yung number 1 na application ng physics sa civil engineering. Yung letter A, itong interaction, itong interaction of atoms and molecules, this is for chemistry, tama? So yung acoustic naman, heating, lighting, and cooling, most preferably sa ano to, sa mga architects. Itong structural stability talaga yung direkta na ano natin. Although, Sir Awamut Paganseran, tapos na, no? Sa class point up ninyo. And for letter D, radioactive dating of rocks is on geologists naman. Okay? So let us look at our answers. May isa na sumagot ng D, may 4. Tingnan natin kung sino ang unang nakasagot. Ano? Bakit may pangalan? Palitan ninyo yung pangalan ng ng student number ninyo. Yan, so yan, ang leader natin si Ivan. Hindi ko magre-gradean yung mga pangalan. Hindi ko alam yan. All right? Okay, let's go to the next one. Yan. Kung nabasa na ninyo yung libro, the laws of classical physics are only applicable when an object is moving at speeds less than about 1% of the speed of light. The objects dealt with must be large enough to be seen with a microscope and only weak gravitational fields. Is this statement true or false? You have 1 minute to answer. So is this statement true or false? Yan. So, majority of you answered true. Ano? Letter A, true. Yung other 35% answered false. So, what is the correct answer dito? The correct answer is true. Ano? Yung classical physics, 'di ba meron tayong dalawang klase ng ano ngayon so ano natin. So meron tayong classical and modern physics. Okay, itong classical physics applicable lang siya sa mga ganito, mga given na condition. Okay, later on mapag-usapan din natin 'yan. Okay? Tingnan natin yung leaderboard natin. Yan. So, student 21-050137 is now the highest with 1,936 points. Yan. So, ito palang class point, mayroon ding grade yung mabilis sumagot. Ano? So, yan. Let us go to the third one. Meron pa kaya? Wala na. No? Later on, meron ulit. Okay, so, let's go to our discussion now. Wag yung i-close yung ano nyo, yung class point app ninyo. Ganyan lang 'yan. Okay? So, science, of course, alam natin physics is science, di ba? Science consists of the theories and laws that are the general truths of nature as well as the body of knowledge they encompass. Ano, scientists are continually trying to expand this body of knowledge to perfect the expression of the laws that describe it. So ito, may mga rule na scientists na lahat ng mga laws that are present are assumed to be true unless otherwise disproven. Ano? So yun yung ano. Paano ba yung pagdi-disprove ng mga laws natin or pag-introduce ng mga laws. Okay, scientists use yung ano natin, 'di ba, yung scientific method to come up with laws. Nagsisimula yan sa observations. They observe nature and then they formulate hypotheses and then later on test the hypothesis. Alam natin yun kasi nag-research na tayo, di ba? Yun yung ginawa natin nung high school. Ang dami-dami ninyong uh, uh, experiments or ano yun? Research. Okay? So, physics as part of science or as a branch of science is concerned with the describing the interactions of energy, matter, space, and time. And it is especially interested in what fundamental mechanisms underlie every phenomenon. So the concern for describing the basic phenomena in nature essentially defines the realm of physics. Okay, so basically ito na yung ano natin, yung uh, mga ano natin for this class. Talk about the interactions between energy, matter, space, and time. Okay? So, ito na. So, application of physics. So, sabi ko kanina, di ba, physics is the foundation of many important disciplines and contributes directly to others. So, sabi ko kanina, yung engineering is an applied physics. Lahat, mostly, lahat ng branches of engineering are applied physics. Lalong-lalo na sa civil engineering. Civil engineering is the heart, physics is at the heart of structural stability sa civil engineering. Okay? Ngayon, in science, we talk about models, theories, and laws. A model is a representation of something that is often too difficult or impossible to display directly. Okay? So, ito, for example, is the atomic planetary model as shown on the figure. Ito, model lang kasi hindi natin nakikita, no? We cannot see yung mga atoms at this level. Okay, so scientists formulate models para mas ma-visualize natin yung mga nangyayari na hindi natin nakikita. Okay? So of course, itong mga models, limited lang itong mga to under limited circumstances. Parang ano lang ito, yung mga model, simplified version of what is really happening. And so may model tayo ng atom. Kasi mahirap naman talaga tignan ang atom. Ano? Kaya gumawa yung mga scientists na yan yung model. It's a representation of something that cannot be seen or impossible to see. Alright? Whereas yung theory, itong theory is an explanation for patterns in nature that is supported by scientific evidence and verified multiple times by various groups of researchers. Some theories include models to help visualize phenomena, whereas others do not. Yan. So, yan. So, a theory is back up by evidence. Meron tayong scientific evidence. Hindi lang hearsay, Hindi lang galing sa mga kung sino-sino. It should be back up by evidence. Siyempre, dapat may yan. It should gone through different experimentations or rigorous Siyempre, peer-reviewed. Ang ibig sabihin ng peer-reviewed, yung gaputa na patunayan, o sige ko for example, nag-experiment ka, at tinapasamak, and then i-claim mo based on the result of your experimentation, hindi pa yon theory, It should be reviewed by other scientists. Hindi lang basta-basta pwedeng magpalabas ng theory. It should be backed up by scientific evidence and verified multiple times by various groups. Okay, peer-reviewed. Yung the same, yung parang ginagawa ninyo. For example, yung mga scientists dito sa atin, yung kung may, for example, result ng kanilang mga experiment should be verified ng mga ibang scientists abroad or the different people na nag-study din ng the same scenarios, something like that. Itong a law uses concise language to describe a generalized pattern in nature that is supported by scientific evidence and repeated experiments. Ito, often a law can be expressed in the form of a single mathematical equation. Just like yung Newton's second law of motion, diba? F is equal to ma. That's the second law of motion. Laws and theories are similar in that they are both scientific statements that result from a tested hypothesis and are supported by scientific evidence. However, the designation law is reserved for a concise and very general statement that describes phenomena in nature. Okay, so yun yung kaibahan ng law sa theory. Yung law, very concise. Concise siya. Tapos general. It's a general statement of what is happening dito sa dito sa paligid natin. Whereas yung theory, lang siya, hindi siya concise. Lang siya for limited. Yung limited lang siya sa depende kung ano yung environment niya. Mayroon tayong limitation for theories. Yan, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, classical physics. The word physics comes from the Greek meaning nature. The study of nature comes to we call natural philosophy. Nung una, yung physics is under natural philosophy ang tawag. So, yung natural philosophy, marami ang branches. Okay? But since maraming scientists nag-experiment ganyan, ng mga different ideas, yung natural philosophy ngayon, nag-branch out siya since marami ng idea, parang siya, nanganak siya, Yung natural philosophy, parang na-divide na siya. And one of those na from natural philosophy is physics. Yung physics, as it developed from the Renaissance to the end of the 19th century is called classical physics. Kagaya ng sabi ko kanina, yung classical physics, ito yung kagaya ng question natin kanina sa class app, applicable lang siya under limited circumstances. Noong 20th century, doon lang nagsimula, nag-transform into modern physics by revolutionary discoveries made starting the beginning of the 20th century. So meron na tayong modern physics. Okay? So ito yung limitation of the classical physics. So for the laws of classical physics, the criteria must be met. Matter must be moving at speeds less than 1% of the speed of light. Okay? And then the object dealt must be large enough to be seen with a microscope, and only weak gravitational fields such as the field generated by the Earth can be involved. Okay? So basically, itong classical physics, applicable siya dito sa ginagalawan nating mundo, dito sa Earth. Applicable ang classical physics. That is why itong klase natin is mostly nasa siya, nagre-revolve lang siya sa classical physics because these three criterias, itong mga criteria na to are met, di ba? So yung pag-usapan natin mostly is on classical physics. Alright? Pero kung gusto niyo mag-advance study ng physics, you can go and read about modern physics. Itong modern physics consists of two revolutionary theories, itong relativity and quantum mechanics. Modern physics is subdivided into two, itong relativity tsaka quantum mechanics. Relativity, ito yung mga study ng object that is traveling at greater than 1% of the speed of light, yung mga mabilis. Kapag mabilis yung motion, we call it the relativity. Okay? Or experiences a strong gravitational field such as that near the sun. Whereas kapag naman smaller objects, we call it quantum mechanics, study of objects smaller than can be seen with a microscope. So ang tawag natin doon sa quantum mechanics. So kapag mabilis na nga, di ba? Tapos maliit pa yung object, anong tawag doon? Relativistic quantum mechanics. Ganun. Pinag-agtipon nga relativity kan quantum mechanics. Okay? Relativistic quantum mechanics ang tawag doon. Kapag the object is traveling greater than 1% and the object is smaller than which can be seen by a microscope. So, relativistic quantum mechanics ang tawag doon. So, medyo na yun. Medyo kakaiba na yung mga theories doon kasi yung mga nararamdaman natin dito sa Earth, hindi na siya applicable sa relativity tsaka sa quantum mechanics. So, we dealt with them with different principles, different laws, different theories. Okay? So, pero sa atin, dito sa klase natin, we will be dealing with classical physics lang. So, pero yung libro natin, sa later part, merong modern physics. Kung gusto nyong basahin yung buong libro, wala akong problema doon. Pero hindi natin matatapos yung buong libro sa isang sem lang kasi. Alright, so kagaya ng sabi ko kanina nga sa physics, we need to prove or disprove laws and something like that. So itong physics are quantitatively parang malaki yung importance ng quantitative na natin na skill natin sa physics because we are dealing with a natural phenomenon with motion, something like that. So we will be dealing with physical quantities and units. So this is on chapter 1.2, physical quantities and units. Alright, and then meron tayong mga preliminary questions dito. Please open your class point up na naman. And then let us answer this one. Which of the following is not a fundamental quantity? Length, mass, time, force, or none of the above? You're given 1 minute to answer. Which of the following is not a fundamental quantity? Length, mass, time, force, or none of the above? Yan. So, 56% of you answered letter D, force. Ano? Which is correct, force. Okay, so ang ating mga fundamental quantities lamang ay yung length, mass, and time. Of course, meron pa pero sa ating klase, in the study of yung physics 10, dito lang muna tayo sa tatlong fundamental quantity, length, mass, and time. So, yung force is actually a derived quantity naman, derived. Galing siya sa hindi siya fundamental hindi siya yung force na derive siya from other fundamental quantities. Okay? So let us take a look at our leaderboard. Yan. So 21050137 is now our top 1. Yan. Followed by this. Okay? Let us go to the next question. Yan. What is the SI unit for mass? So what is the unit for mass? Is it pound, kilogram, gram, slag, or none of the above? You have 1 minute to answer. Okay. So majority of you answered kilogram. Ano? Kilogram is the answer. No? This is the SI unit for mass. Although, ano siya, meron siyang prefix na kilo, yung kilogram is the SI unit for mass, hindi yung gram. Alright? Let's see the leaderboard. Parehas. Siya pa rin yung top pa na. 050137. Okay? Next question. What is 1 teragram equal to? Is it 10 raised to 12, 10 raised to 9, 10 raised to 6, 10 raised to 15, or none of the above? Yan. So, the correct answer is 10 raised to 12. Ano? Tera is a prefix. Pag-aaralan natin mamaya, the different prefixes in the SI unit. So, tera means 10 raised to 12. So, 1 teragram is 10 raised to 12 grams. Okay? All right. Okay, so physical quantity, we define physical quantity either by specifying how it is measured or by stating how it is calculated from other measurements. Okay? So yung mga yung mga fundamental quantities natin, we define them by how they are measured. Kasi wala naman ng ibang definition yung mga fundamental quantities natin other than by saying kung paano sila na-compute or how do we come up with those physical quantities. Yung mga derived quantities naman, we can state or we can define them by stating how they are calculated from other measurements. Okay? So measurements of physical quantities are expressed in terms of units which are standardized values. So meron tayong mga iba't ibang units, ano? Meron tayong dalawang klase. There are two major systems of units that are used in the world. The first one is the SI units, also known as the metric system. Itong SI units usually, ito yung mga prominent sa atin dito sa Pilipinas at basically ito na yung nagiging parang common na sa buong mundo. Pero yung English units ginagamit pa rin ng napaka doon sa United States. Widely used pa rin yung English units such as the foot, yung mga ganyan, yung customary or imperial system. Okay, so yan yung dalawa. Yung SI unit, SI is derived from the French term Système International. Okay, ito yung uh, standard system, yung SI. This is the standard system agreed upon by scientists and mathematicians. Okay, so every country in the world now uses SI units as the standard. Okay? So ano ba yung SI unit? Yan, the most fundamental physical quantities can be defined, yan yung sinabi ko kanina, yung mga fundamental quantities, 'Di ba meron yung kagaya ng question ko kanina that three fundamental quantities for our class are the length, mass, and time. Okay? All other quantities such as the force can be expressed as algebraic combinations of length, mass, and time. These units are called derived units. So yung length, mass, and time, to yung mga fundamental quantities. Yung iba, they are derived units such as the force. Dito ang niya is speed. Speed is length divided by time. Okay? Yan. So ito na. The units for time is the second, di ba? The SI unit for time is the second. Ang abbreviation niya ay small letter s. So, ito yung kanyang definition, The time required for cesium atom to vibrate. Yan, 9,192,600. Ano to? 9 billion pala ito, 9,192,631,770 times yung vibration of the cesium atom. Yan yung basic definition niya. Actually, itong definition ng time, itong pagkuha ng 1 second, ay nag-evolve din through time, Nung una hindi pa ito yung kanyang hindi pa ito yung ginamit sa pagkuha ng second, meron pa 'yan. Nasa libro kung binasa ninyo, pero this time ito na yung talagang ginagamit. Okay, the time required for cesium atom to vibrate. Right? And then meter naman, itong meter is the SI unit for the length. So ang abbreviation niya ay small letter m. Ang kanyang derivation naman ito. Yan. The distance that the light travels in a vacuum in 1 over that number of a second. So, napaka-precise, The light travels for a fraction of a second. Very small fraction of a second. Yun yung meter. Okay, yan yung derivation ng meter. And then kilogram naman is the SI unit for mass. Ang abbreviation niya is kg. Ito, yan yung kanyang definition, na galing siya sa Planck constant H. Tapos, merong C. C is the speed of light and delta VCS is, hindi ko na alam kung ano. Ano na ulit ito? Nabasa ko to. Pero hindi ko na maalala. Okay, C is the speed of light and another factor of kilogram. So, yan na. Dyan nakuha yung kilogram. 1 kilogram. Noon, hindi pa ito yung hindi pa ito yung derivation ng kilogram eh. Noon, meron pa tayong standard na parang bakal doon sa Paris. Ganyan. Pero through time, nag-iba din yung kanyang definition. Yan. So, sa metric, doon sa SI units, gumagamit tayo ng mga prefixes. So, SI units are part of the metric system. The metric system is convenient for scientific and engineering calculations because the units are categorized by factors of 10. Yan. So, the term order of magnitude, yan. Meron tayong term na order of magnitude. Refers to the scale of a value expressed in the metric system. Each power of 10 in the metric system represents a different order of magnitude. So, ayan, yung sinabi nating prefixes, ito siya. So, when we talk about exa is 10 raised to 18. Peta is 10 raised to 15. Tera, ito na yung question natin kanina, tera, 10 raised to 12. So, yan yung mga symbols nila, no? Giga is 10 raised to 9. Mega is 10 raised to 6. Kilo is 10 raised to 3. Hecto, 10 squared. Deca is 10 raised to 1. So, deci, we have 10 raised to negative 1. Deci, centi is 10 raised to negative 2. Kung nakikita ninyo yung mga symbol natin dito sa may mga negative, these are numbers less than 1 na, di ba? Yung mga symbol natin ay small letters na. Ang symbol natin dito, except of course itong tatlong itong nasa baba, mga capital letters yan. Ang alam na lang natin dito is hanggang micro. Itong micro, kakaiba kasi hindi siya, Greek siya, mu. Mu ang kanyang symbol, for 10 raised to negative 6. We have nano, pico, femto, and atto. Yan yung mga metric prefixes natin, Yan yung mga ibig sabihin nila. So for example, kapag sinabi nating 1 kilowatt, that is actually 10 raised to 3 watts. 1,000 watts, ganun. Okay? So yan, so how do we convert units? Okay, unit conversions involve changing a value expressed in one type of unit to another type of unit. This is done by using conversion factors, which are ratios relating equal quantities of different units. Okay? Let us say that we want to convert 80 meters to kilometers. So yan, 80 meters. Multiply natin siya by our conversion factor. So since natin dito, meters and kilometers, so ano ba yung relationship? Parang a relationship ng kilometers tsaka meters. Ito yan. 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So yan yung magiging conversion factor natin. Okay? Since we are converting 80 meters, itong meters ngayon nasa baba to cancel meters and meters. Tama? Kasi for example, kapag nasa baba yung kilometer, hindi natin makancel yung meter. Tama? So in this case, nasa baba yung 1,000 meters. So ang mangyayari ito, this is 80 times 1 divided by 1,000 which is equal to 0.080. Ang natirang unit ay kilometers. Okay, ganun lang yung pag-convert natin ng units. We just multiply by our conversion factors or conversion factor. Okay? Let us take a look at this one. So, the speed limit on some interstate highways is roughly 100 kilometers per hour. What is this in meters per second? Okay? So, let's take a look at this one for part A. Okay, for part A, we have 100 kilometers per hour. I-convert natin into meters per second. Tama? So, itong kilometers, ito. Itong kilometer natin, ito, i-convert natin into meters dapat. Itong hour dito, i-convert natin into seconds. Alright? So, ano ang gagawin natin dyan? Ang mangyayari, isa-isahin natin. Ano? Una, i-multiply muna natin yung conversion factor natin ng meters to kilometers. Tama? So, this is a fraction. Meters tsaka kilometers. Nasa taas yung kilometer. So, yung kilometer natin dapat nandito sa baba. Yung meter natin dapat nandoon sa taas. Ganyan. Para makancel yung kilometers to kilometers. Ngayon, ang kailangan natin is the conversion factor. What is the relationship between a kilometer and a meter? Alam natin ito from our previous example that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Tama? So yan yung conversion factor natin for the kilometers to meters. Susunod, i-multiply din natin conversion factor for hour and seconds. Ano? Since nasa baba yung R pala is ano lang, H lang. Ano? Tanggalin natin yung R. Yan. So R naman, nasa taas dapat yung R, nasa baba yung second para makancel yung R tsaka R, tama? Ito, cancel na yung kilometer to kilometer. Pero ano ba yung relationship ng hour tsaka second? Alam natin, 1 hour is 60 minutes and 1 minute is 60 seconds. So therefore, 1 hour is 60 times 60. So we have 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. Yan yung conversion natin from hour to second. So kung titingnan ninyo, cancel na yung kilometer to kilometer, hour to hour. Ang natitira is meters over second. Okay? So ang mangyayari dyan, we have 100 times 1,000 times 1 divided by 3,600. Right? So this one is equal to 100. Bakit naging 100 kilometers? Anong sagot natin nito? Wala pala akong calculator. Tingnan natin kung mayroong calculator dito. Yan. Nakita nyo yung calculator ko, hindi? Haan? Nakikita nyo? Kasi ano nga pang ipakita ng pala ito eh. Okay. Hindi pwede. Sige. Meron pala akong meron akong installer ng calculator kung gusto nyo. Para hindi na kayo bumili sa computer na lang, di ba? So we have 27.7. Hindi. So wag muna nating i-concern yung natin. Okay? 27.7777. This is actually meters per second. 778. Dapat 8 yan. Yan. Okay? Okay, for letter B, how many miles per hour is this? Miles per hour naman. Yan, so miles per hour. So paano ba to? Doon na lang tayo sa 100. 100 kilometers per hour. So, hindi natin i-convert yung hour kasi hour na yan. So, yung kilometer to miles na lang. So, ano yung conversion factor natin ng kilometer to mile? Anong mas malaki, kilometer or mile?
Miles, sir.
Mas malaki yung mile. So, lagay natin dito, 1 mile is 1 point, ano na, 609? Yan. So, 1 mile is 1.609 kilometers. You can actually search yung ano natin ito. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, itong 1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers. Parang nag-multiply lang tayo ng 1 because equivalent lang yung 1 mile kay 1.609. Pwede nating iyan na yan. Pwede na nating i-cancel yung kilometers. So, ang sagot natin dito ay 100 divided by 1.609, which is equal to 62.15. $1,504. Yan. Cancel na yung kilometer. Tama ba yung conversion factor ko? Sometime itong mile per hour ang symbol natin diyan is MPH. Kapag nakikita kayo ng MPH, ang ibig sabihin niyan is mile per hour. .62. Mali ba ako? Kilometer to mile. 1 mile 1.609. Tama naman. 1.60. Okay. Okay, so yan. Yan yung gamit ng mga conversion factors natin. We convert from one unit to other units. Ito very important kasi kapag hindi pare-parehas yung mga given na units natin sa problem, we need to convert. Ayan, mag-convert tayo. Yan. So a car is traveling at a speed of 33 meters per second. What is its speed in kilometers per hour? So same problem So let us convert yung 33 meters per second. Erase natin. Use the black one. Yan, 33 meters per second. I-convert natin into kilometers per hour. So yung kilometer muna, the same yung conversion factor natin. But since meters ito, ibig sabihin nasa baba na yung meter natin, nasa taas yung kilometers. So that's 1 over 1,000. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Tapos yung second naman, nasa taas na yung second, nasa baba na yung hour. 1 hour is 3,600 second. So we can cancel second and second, meters and meters. So ang result natin dito ay kilometers per hour. Okay? So that's 33 times 3,600 divided by 1,000. So we have 118.8 kilometers per hour. Sometimes ang kilometers per hour naman, we have kph. No? kph. Alright? So, ang tanong sa letter B, is it exceeding the 90 km per hour speed limit? Since compute natin na 118.8 km per hour, ang sagot natin dito ay, for letter B, of course, it is exceeding. Yes, it is exceeding because 118.8 is greater than 90 km per hour. Okay? Yan. Another example ito. American football is played on a 100-yard long field, excluding the end zones. How long is the field in meters? Yan. So assume that 1 meter equals 3.281 feet. Okay? So, yung 100 yard, 100 yard, ang alam natin is yard to feet, di ba? Alam natin 1 yard is 3 feet. So, we can convert muna yung yard to feet. Ay, since yard yung nasa, dito dapat yung yard, nasa taas yung feet. Alam natin 1 yard is 3 feet. Okay? And then convert natin. O, cancel na yung yard. So, basically, feet na yung ating unit. And then, gamitin na natin itong conversion factor na to. 1 meter equals 3.281 feet. So, andyan niya. 1 meter, since feet yung nasa taas, nasa baba dapat yung 3.281 feet. That's 1 meter. Yan. So, cancel na yung feet, tsaka yung feet. Ang matitira dito ay meters na. So, this is 100 times 3 divided by 3.281. So, we have 91.4355 meters. Okay, so that's our answer. So 91.4355 meters. All right? Yan. What is the height in meters of a person who is 6 feet 1 inch tall? Assume that 1 meter is 39.37 inches. Okay, so 6 feet 1 inch tall. 6'1", di ba? 6 feet 1 inch. So in other this is 6 feet 1 inch. Kapag isang isang kuwit lang, that's for feet, di ba? Kapag dalawa, that's for inch. So we have 6 feet 1 inch. Paano natin yan? So dapat i-convert lang natin into iisa. Dapat isa lang na unit. Dalawa yan 6 feet and 1 inch. So ang dyan, i-convert na, ang custom, ang ginagawa ko sa akin, kapag nagko-convert ako at walang definite na pwedeng pag-convertan, ang ginagawa ko, kino-convert ko yung mas malaking unit into mas maliit na unit. Okay, so considering we have feet and inches, mas maliit yung inches, di ba? So i-convert ko lahat ngayon into inches. So itong 6 feet 1 inch, i-convert ko siya into inches, di ba? Alam natin that 6 feet is 1 foot is 12 inches, tama? So i-multiply ko lang ng 12 ito. So this is 6 times 12, tama? 6 times 12 for the 6 feet. So inches na to. Pwede nating i-convert. Pwede nating parang lagyan ng conversion factor na lang din. Okay? 6 foot times 1 foot is 12 inches. Tapos, yung 1 inch, i-add na lang natin mamaya. So, i-add natin yung 1 inch. Okay, so this is 6 times 12 is 72 plus 1. So we have 73. Yan. So yung 6 feet 1 inch is equal to 73 inches. Okay, ngayon, we need to find the height in meters. So itong inch, i-convert na natin into meters. So multiply natin ng conversion factor na, yan, 1 meter is 39.37 inch. So sa baba dapat yung 39.37 inch. Sa taas yung 1 meter. Okay? Para cancel ngayon yung inch tsaka inch. So ang natira natin dito is yung meter. So 73 divided by 39.37, which is equal to 1.8542 meters. Okay, so all right. Yan. Last example for this one. Refer to table 1.3 to determine the average distance between the Earth and the Sun. Oh, let's go back to our book. Balik tayo sa libro natin. Tignan daw natin yung table 1.3. Saan yung table 1.3? Table 1.3. Nasaan na yung libro ko? Okay. Okay, table 1.3. Nandito yung mga distances, ano? Table 1.3 is the length in meters. Approximate values of length, mass, and time. So, kung titingnan niyo yung table 1.3, open your book, hindi ko na maipapakita sa PowerPoint. Sa PDF, nasa page, page 20. Okay? So, kung titingnan niyo yung distance between the Earth and the Sun, distance from Earth to Sun, nasaan siya? Distance from the Earth to the Sun is 10 raised to 11. Okay? 10 raised to 11. Distance from Earth to Sun is equal to 10 raised to 11 meters. Okay? So, nandyan yan sa table 1.3. Okay? So, calculate the average speed of the Earth in its orbit in kilometers per second. Assuming, di ba, this is the average distance from the Earth to the Sun. Kung i-drawing natin ito, kung nandyan yung orbit ng Earth, nandito yung Sun. So, basically, the distance is the radius, tama? Yung distance from Earth to Sun is the radius of this circle. Assuming na circle yung orbit. Okay? So, yan yung 10 raised to 11 natin. This is the radius. Okay? So, ang tinatanong dito, the speed of the Earth in its orbit. Alam natin that the Earth is revolving around the Sun. Tapos nako-complete niya yung one revolution in 365 and 1/4 days. Tama? So, 365 and 1/4. One revolution is 365 and 1/4. So, that's 0.25 days. Okay, so ang natin, speed is distance over time. Tama? Distance over time. So the speed is equal to distance over the time. In this case, the distance is the circumference of the circle, tama? Siyempre, the total distance traveled is the circumference of the circle. And we know that the circumference of a circle has a formula na 2 pi r. So this is 2 pi times 10 raised to 11 meters, 2 pi r. All over the time is 365.25 days. Yan. So meron tayong makukuha dyan in meters per days. Ang tinatanong dito, kilometers per second. Kilometers per second. So kailangan natin itong i-convert from kilometers second. Kilometers muna. Nasa taas yung meter, so ibig sabihin, nasa taas dapat yung kilometer, nasa baba yung 1,000 meters. Okay? Tapos days to seconds. Lagay ko na lang dito, ano? Times days to second. Alam natin that 1 day is 24 hours. Tapos, hours naman to seconds. Alam natin kanina that 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. So, cancel na yung meters, days, tsaka day, hours to hours. So, ang natira dito is so sa taas, sa numerator, we have 2 pi times 10 raised to 11. Tapos, wala na. Times 1, times 1, times 1 na lahat. So, sa denominator na lahat yan, 365.25 times 1,000 times 24 times 3,600. So, ang sagot natin dito is 19.9102 kilometers per second. Ang bilis pala ng Earth, ano? Imagine, yan yung speed natin revolving around the sun. 19 kilometers per second or 20 kilometers per second. Tayo na yung ganun. So what is this in meters per second? Basically, convert lang natin yung kilometers to meters. I will leave that, ano, yung meters per second. From kilometers per second to meters per second, kaya na yung mag-convert. Okay? Ano na lang yan? Kasi second na yan, so yung kilometer na lang yung i-convert ninyo. Okay? So any question about conversion of units? Okay.
None so far, sir.
All right. So let's go to the next topic then. Our next topic is on accuracy, precision, and significant figure. So open your class point up na naman, and we have a question here. Yan. The bullseye is at the center of the figure. What does the 4 dots indicate? Letter A, low precision, high accuracy. B, high precision, low accuracy. C, low precision, low accuracy. Or D, high precision, high accuracy. And you have 1 minute. Ayan. So, majority answered B and B is the correct answer. Ano? So, bakit ganun? Bakit high precision, low accuracy? Malalaman natin yan mamaya. Okay, another one. You determine that the weight of the 10-pound bag has an uncertainty of plus or minus 0.4 pounds. What is the percent uncertainty of the bag's weight? Is it A, 8%, 0.08%, 4%, or 0.04%? 1 minute. Yan. So, majority answered C, 4%. The correct answer is C, 4%. Okay? All right. Yan. How many significant figures in 87.990? Is it 5, 4, 3, 2, or none of the above? Yan. So, parang hati, ano? Hati yung klase. Only 56% got the correct answer, no? There are 5 significant figures. The 0 in the end is significant. Tingnan natin kung sino ang nasa leaderboard. Uy, iba na yung nasa taas, ano? We have 21 na 050116. Okay? Yan, ito na yung ano natin. So, accuracy and precision of a measurement. So, accuracy is how close a measurement is to the correct value for that measurement. Okay? Kung titignan niyo itong first na figure natin, itong 4 na dots dito, 'di ba? Malapit siya dito sa bullseye. So, parang ano siya, we can say that is accurate, 'di ba? Malapit siya sa katotohanan. Yun yung ano niya, yung accuracy. Malapit sa katotohanan. Itong precision naman, parang ano, parang kas lang DJ, turturungan DJ, no kung ma-bullets dagitoy, may sadya turong ti bullet. Although, adayo ka DJ bullseye, DJ, DJ bullets, may sa turong na, di ba? Very close yung mga measurements natin. So, precise yung mga measurements natin. So in this case, itong 4 na bullets dito sa second figure, they are not accurate because malayo sila doon sa bullseye, but it is precise since magkakalapit, ano, yung mga measurements, they are near or close to each other. So yun yung difference ng accuracy sa precision. Alright? So the degree of accuracy and precision of a measuring system are related to the uncertainty in the measurements. Uncertainty is a quantitative measure of how much your measured value deviate from a standard or expected value. The uncertainty in a measurement, say A, is often denoted as delta A. Okay, so the measurement result would be recorded as A plus or minus delta A. As in dito, example, 11 inch plus or minus 0.2. Ang ibig sabihin nito, ang uncertainty niya ay 0.2. Ang ibig sabihin, yung measurement pwedeng 11, ang kanyang minimum dito ay the minimum is 11 minus 0.2. Ang kanyang maximum ay 11 plus 0.2. So dito, this is 10.8, this is 11.2. So basically, kapag sinabi natin na 11 inches plus or minus 0.2, ang kanyang range ay 10.8 to 11.2. Yan. So anywhere between 10.8 to 11.2, yan yung ibig sabihin ng kanyan na measurement. Okay? So, a measurement plus or minus the uncertainty. Ang percent uncertainty naman, if a measurement A is expressed with uncertainty delta A, the percent uncertainty is defined to be, bakit ang dami ng ano, wala naman kayong 200, bakit ang daming nag-join? May mga tig-tatlong device na. Isang device lang per student ah. Wala naman kayong 200 sa klase ko, di ba? Yan. So, yan yung percent uncertainty. That's delta A over A. So, times 100% of course. Yan yung formula natin for percent uncertainty. Yan. Example, suppose that your bathroom scale reads your mass as 65 kilograms with a 3% uncertainty. What is the uncertainty in your mass in kilograms? Of course, ang given natin dito, ang ating measurement ay ito, 65 kilogram. So doon sa ating formula na A plus delta A, yan, yung A natin dito ay yung 65 kilograms. Yan. So yung 3%, this is the percent uncertainty. Yan. So yung 3% is the percent uncertainty. Bali, ang unknown natin dito is the delta A. Ito yung unknown natin. Okay? So, from the formula of percent uncertainty is equal to delta A over A times 100%. Yan. So, substitution lang ang unknown natin itong delta A. So, we have 3% is equal to delta A over 65 kilograms times 100%. Siyempre, cancel na yung percent kasi may percent sila on both sides. So, the uncertainty, delta A is, this is just, 3 times 65 divided by 100. Three times 65 divided by 100. So, we have 1.95. 1.95 kilograms. So, yan na yung ating uncertainty in kilograms. 1.95 kilograms. Okay? Yan. Another example here is a good quality measuring tape can be off by 0.50 centimeters over a distance of 20 meters. What is its percent uncertainty? Dito naman meron tayong magkaibang units. Ano? We have 0.50 centimeters. Tapos yung ano niya is 20 meters. Okay? So doon sa formula natin na A plus delta A, yung A natin, since this is distance, palitan na natin. Distance is D. Ano? So D is equal to 20 meters. Yung delta D natin is 0.50 centimeters. Okay? Para maano natin yung formula natin na percent uncertainty is equal to delta D over D times 100%. Kailangan ito parehas yung kanilang units. Ano? Magkaiba ito to meters tsaka centimeters. Okay? So, pwede i-convert natin itong 0.50 to meters or pwedeng i-convert natin itong 20 meters to centimeters. Okay? Basta in the end, kapag ginamit natin itong formula na ito, dapat parehas yung units nila. Okay? So, pwede nating pwede nating i-convert yung 20 meters into centimeters. Yan, 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So, cancel ngayon yung meters to meters. So, yung D ay 20, tapos lagyan natin ng dalawang 0 centimeters. So, we have 2,000 cm. So, kapag sinubstitute na natin dito sa formula, we have 0.50 cm over 2,000 cm. Cancel na yung cm. So, magiging percent na lang yung sagot natin dito. Okay? So, the percent uncertainty is 0.5 divided by 2,000. Tapos, multiply natin ng 100. So, this is 0.025%. That's the percent uncertainty. Okay? Yan. And a car speedometer has 5% uncertainty. What is the range of possible speeds when it reads 90 kilometers per hour? What is the range? So, minimum to maximum. Kapag sinabi natin na. So, meron tayong percent uncertainty dito na 5%. So, for letter A, percent uncertainty, diretso na, no? Hindi ko na isusulat yung formula. So, 5% is equal to, basically, ang hinahanap natin dito is the uncertainty, di ba? So, yun yung delta. Since speed yan, S yung ano natin. So, delta S over S, that's 90 kilometers per hour times 100%. Cancel na yung percent dito. So, meron tayong delta S. That's 5 times 90 divided by 100. 5 times 90 divided by 100. So, we have 4.5 kilometers per hour. So, yung ano natin ngayon dito, ang range natin is 90 kilometers per hour plus or minus 4.5 kilometers per hour. Yan yung range natin. So if we convert this into interval notation, that's 90 minus 4.5. So ang minimum natin ay 85.5 kilometers per hour. Tapos ang maximum natin ay 94.5. Yan, kilometers per hour. Yan. Yan yung range natin for possible speeds. Ayan. Ngayon, yung convert this range, yung kilometers per hour, i-convert lang natin into miles per hour. using the given conversion factor. I-convert muna natin yung yung 85.5. So 85.5 kilometers per hour. Convert lang natin yung kilometer to mile, di ba? So dito sa baba dapat yung 1 kilometer, sa taas yung 0.6214 mile. Para cancel ngayon yung kilometer to kilometer, matitira ngayon yung miles per hour. So that's 85.5 times 0.6214. So 53.1297 miles per hour. Yung naman, maximum, that's 94.5 kilometers per hour. Parehas lang i-multiply lang natin ng conversion factor natin na binigay. 6214 miles. Okay, cancel yung kilometer to kilometer. So we have 94.5 multiplied by 0.6214. So we have 58.7223 miles per hour. So ang range natin ngayon is 53.1297 to 58.7223 miles per hour. Okay? So yun na, no? Given the uncertainty. Any question about this one? Okay lang, ano? Let's go to the next one. Ayan. An infant's pulse rate is measured to be 130 plus or minus 5 beats per minute. What is the percent uncertainty in this measurement? Madali lang ito, ano? Direct substitution lang, ano? So the percent uncertainty is equal to delta, yung delta that's 5 over 130 times 100%. And 3.8462 percent. Yan. Okay? Yan. Paano naman yung computation natin ng uncertainty kapag yung mga quantities natin ay sums and difference? For example, meron tayong iba't ibang measurement, di ba? Tapos bawat measurement merong mga uncertainty. Kung yung mga measurement na yun, we add them or subtract them together, ang ating mga uncertainties pinag-a-add din. Okay? Yan. The uncertainty in the computed value of Q is the sum of all the original uncertainties. So pinag-a-add natin lahat yung mga uncertainties kapag yung operation ng mga quantities ay addition or subtraction. Okay, pinag-a-add natin lahat yung mga uncertainties. Pero kapag division naman, multiplication and division, meron tayong multiplication and division dito. Ito yung formula natin for uncertainty. The uncertainty for the final quantity Q is ito mga ratios, ano? Itong merong absolute value, ibig sabihin yung positive value ng quantity natin. Okay? Ang ano natin dito is actually the delta Q. Delta Q is the overall uncertainty. Okay? Yan yung formula natin for uncertainty kapag ang involved na operation are product and quotients. Kapag naman kapag exact number, meron tayong constant number dito na B, ang uncertainty of the result, yung result is B times the uncertainty in the quantity X. Okay? Tapos kapag power, ganyan naman yung formula natin. Yan. Parang lang siya yung n lang na multiply doon sa formula natin kanina sa multiplication and division. Okay? Let's take a look at this one. A person measures his or her heart rate by counting the number of beats in 30 seconds. If 40 plus 1 beats are counted in 30.0 plus or minus 0.5 seconds, what is the heart rate and its uncertainty in beats per minute? Okay, so tignan muna natin yung most probable value of the natin. Most probable value meaning the average. Kinukuha lang natin itong mga bases. Iyan. Okay? Tawagin nating most probable value na lang. Ano? So the most probable value, MPV. Most probable value. So how do we get the beats per minute? So that's beats divided by time. So I have 40 beats divided by 30 seconds. So that is equal to i-ano lang natin fraction para hindi muna tayo mag ano, no? Okay. Sige, decimal na lang. So 1.3333 beats per wait lang. So per minute pala, ano? I-convert na natin. Convert na natin into minute, beats per minute pala. So 60 seconds is 1 minute. Min. Okay? So cancel na ngayon yung S, yung second. So yan na yung ating beats per minute. So that's 40 times 60 divided by 30. So 80 beats per minute. Okay? Yan na yung most probable value. Ngayon, ang ano natin is the uncertainty. So ano ang ginawa natin dito? Dinivide natin, di ba? Dinivide natin yung beats tsaka yung time. So ang most probably for the uncertainty, ano na lang natin. 'Di ba yung formula natin kasi is A plus delta A. So ito yung most probable value natin. Palitan na lang natin yung wala tayo kasing symbol for A tsaka A. Ito na lang yung gamitin natin A tsaka delta A. Ito yung A. Yan yung most probable value. Yung delta A ay gagamitin natin yung formula based sa kung ano yung operation na ginamit natin. Ang operation na ginamit natin ay quotient. So ito yung gagamitin natin. Itong delta Q, ito ngayon yung delta A natin. Since isang variable lang yung ginamit, so hanggang dito lang tayo. So delta A over the absolute value of A is equal to the delta of the measurement over the absolute value of the measurement. And so in this case, delta A over the absolute value of the measurement A, so that's 80, is equal to, ang measurement natin ay dalawa pala, no? Dalawa. So itong beats tsaka itong seconds. So delta for the first one is 1 beat. 1 beat over 40. Absolute value lang naman. So puro positive ito, no? Yan. 1 over 40 plus. Ito dapat in minutes kasi naka-minutes ito. Beats per minutes. So yung 30 in minutes, that's 0.5. Tama? Ilagyan natin dito. Yung 30 seconds, di ba alam natin that 1 minute is 60 seconds. So this is 0.5 minutes. Tapos yung 0.5 seconds I-divide natin ng 1/60. So that's 0.5 divided by 60. Para naka-minutes lahat. 1/, ano na lang. Ito na lang, 1/120. 1/120 minutes. Yan. Okay, so dito sa pangalawa, ang kanyang delta ay 1/120. Ang kanyang most probable value ay yung 0.5. Yan. So yan lang yung ating equation. So we can compute for delta A. So delta A, i-compute lang muna natin ito. 1/40 plus ito. Tapos whatever the answer, i-multiply natin yung 80. Kasi nasa denominator yung 80. So that's 1/40. 1/40 plus 1/120 over 0.5. Whatever the answer, i-multiply natin ng 80. So that's 3.333. Yan. Beats per minute din ito. Yan. So yeah, ito na yung ano natin, ito na yung heart rate, 80 beats per second. 80 beats per minute pala. Tapos ito na yung uncertainty natin. Yan. Meron slight sa libro kasi ang lang dito sa libro, ang diniscuss lang dito sa libro is hindi ko na masyadong binasa yung part na ito. Merong diniscuss about adding yung mga percent uncertainties, yung mga uncertainty i-add lang. Applicable lang ito yung pag-add ng mga uncertainties kapag maliliit yung mga figures kasi. Okay? So ito yung mga exact na formulas natin for the uncertainties, itong mga diniscuss natin dito. Ito wala sa libro, ano? Nasa ibang libro ito, itong mga formulas natin for uncertainties, for sums, for products, for numbers, and for powers. Yan. So ito yung mga gagamitin natin na formula when we deal with combining uncertainties. Okay? Next one. Yan. A marathon runner completes a 42.188 kilometers course in 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 12 seconds. There is an uncertainty of 25 meters in the distance traveled and uncertainty of 1 second in the elapsed time. Calculate the percent uncertainty in the distance. Calculate the uncertainty in the elapsed time. And what is the average speed in meters per second? And what is the uncertainty in the average speed? Okay. So for A, calculate the percent uncertainty in the distance. Okay, so the percent uncertainty in the distance, lagyan natin ng ganyan, subscript na distance, is equal to, this is 25 meters for the 42.188 kilometer course, ano? So, pwede nating sabihin dito, this is 25 meters. Hindi ko na i-compute dito yung, yung conversion. Ilalagay na lang natin dito. Since kilometer to meters, alam natin 1 kilometer is 1,000. So, itong point niya, multiply lang natin ng 1,000 magiging 42,188 meters na yon. Okay, para maging meter siya. Times 100%. Yan na. So that's maliit ito, no? 25 over 42188 times 100. Hanggang 4 decimal places na lang. 0.054 na significant dito sa decimal. 5926%. Yan na yung percent uncertainty sa distance. Ano? Calculate the uncertainty in the elapsed time. Ito, mga maliliit na values itong mga to. Applicable yung sa sinabi sa libro kapag ganito na maliliit lang yung mga percent uncertainties. Sa libro sinabi niya kapag maliliit lang yung mga percent uncertainties, we just add yung mga uncertainties together. So siguro for letter B is the uncertainty, percent uncertainty in the elapsed time. Ano? Kasi given na yung uncertainty eh. The uncertainty is 1 second. So the unknown is the percent uncertainty. The percent uncertainty and the time. That's 1 second over how many seconds is this? 2 hours, that's 2 times 3,600. Tapos 30 minutes, that's 30 times 60. Tapos plus 12 seconds. So I have 9,012 seconds times 100%. Yan. So 1 over 9,012 times 100%. Kuha lang tayo ng mga 4 significant figures dito sa decimal. So 1110. 1110%. Yan. Now wait, what is the average speed in meters per second? So this is the ito yung A, di ba? This is the A. Okay, so the average speed yan, average speed di ba distance over time ito? So the distance is ito 42188 meters. 42188 meters over the time. The time is 9012 seconds. Yan. So yan no yung average speed natin. Yan, 42188 over 9012. We have 4.6813 meters per second. Yan na yung C natin. That's the average speed. Okay, and for D, what is the uncertainty in the average speed? So, the uncertainty, since anong ginawa natin? We divide, di ba? We divide. So, the same yung formula natin for the uncertainty kagaya nung sa last example. So, the uncertainty in the speed, delta S over the speed, which is 4.6813 is equal to ratios naman. Yung una, yung distance. The uncertainty in the distance is 25 for 25 over 42188. I-add natin yung 1 second over 9012. So, ang unknown natin dito is delta S, the uncertainty in the speed. So, that's 25 over 42188 plus 1 over 9012. So, whatever the answer, i-multiply natin nung 4.6813. Yun na. O, ang liit ng uncertainty, 0.00 3294. Yan, meters per second. Okay, yan na yung sagot natin for the uncertainty in the speed. Alright? Yan naman. The sides of a small rectangular box are measured to be 1.80, 2.05, and 3.1 plus or minus the uncertainty is centimeters long. Calculate its volume and uncertainty in cubic centimeters. So the volume is just the length times width times height, di ba? Length times width times height. So this is 1.80 centimeters multiplied by 2.05 centimeters multiplied by 3.1 centimeters. So, yan na yung volume natin. 1.80 times 2.05 times 3.1. So, 11.439 cubic centimeters. Ngayon, since we did multiplication dito, the uncertainty in the volume, that's delta V, over V, that's 11.439, is equal to the sum of the ratios. Ano? So that's 0.01 over 1.80 plus 0.02 over 2.05 plus and then 0.1 divided by 3.1. Yan. So we just add this and then multiply by 11.439 for the uncertainty in the volume. Yan. 0.01 over 1.80 plus 0.02 over 2.05 then plus 0.1 over 3.1. Then multiply natin yung sagot by 11.439. So ang uncertainty natin is 0.5442. Okay? Therefore, the volume is 11.439 plus or minus 0.5442 cubic cm. Okay? Yan. The same is true kanina dito. The speed, pwede nating isulat. The average speed is equal to 4.6813 plus or minus 0.003294 meters per second. Yan. Okay? All right. So dito, we will talk about precision of measuring tools and significant figures. Okay, using the method of significant figures, the rule is that the last digit written down in a measurement is the first digit with some uncertainty. Significant figures indicate the precision of a measuring tool that was used to measure a value. In order to determine the number of significant digits in a value, start with the first measured value at the left and count the number of digits through the last digit written on the right. Okay? So, ang problema lang naman sa significant figures are the zeros. Ano? Zeros are significant except when they serve only as placekeepers. Ano? So, the zeros in 0.053 are not significant because there are only placekeepers that locate the decimal point. So, in this case, itong 0.053, there are only two significant digits, itong 5 and 3. Dito, 10.053 naman, itong 0 dito sa gitna, they are significant. Kasi hindi naman sila placeholders lang. Ano? Kapag yung zeros ay nasa gitna ng non-zero digits, significant yung mga zeros natin. Ang misleading dito is kapag yung zero ay nasa hulian. For example, 1,300, ito nakadepende, ano? Pwedeng significant or hindi significant yung mga zeros niya. Alright? So pwede siyang dalawang significant figures lang, tatlong significant figures, or four significant figures. Kaya to avoid ambiguity, susulat natin ito as scientific notation. Pwede natin, kung gusto nating isulat ito as two significant figures, so ang pagsulat natin ay 1.3 times 10 raised to 3. Ganyan. Kung two significant figures, kung three significant figures, 1.30 times 10 raised to 3. Kapag four significant figures, 1.300 times 10 raised to 3. Yan. Yan. Nga pala sa MBLE ninyo, kapag nagsulat tayo ng scientific notation, for example, 3 times 10 raised to 5. Ang pagsulat nito sa MBLE is 3 exponent 5, 3e5. Itong e will replace niya yung times 10. Okay, ganyan yung pagsulat nyo, 3e5. Kung negative yan, for example, 3 times 10 raised to negative 5 sa MBLE, ang input niya, 3e raised to negative 5. Ganyan lang. Okay? So sa calculation, dito hindi naman tayo masyadong stricto dito sa significant figures in calculations kasi nasanay na tayo na mag-round off to 4 decimal places. So ano lang, in case lang na ito hindi natin all throughout yung sa text natin, all throughout sa study natin, hindi natin hindi tayo magiging stricto dito sa number of significant figures. Pero dito lang sa chapter na to, kapag tinanong kung ano yung tamang significant figures, doon lang tayo. No? Pero in general, sa mga susunod natin na mga lessons, hindi natin i-apply itong mga to. Kaya hindi tayo magiging stricto dito. Okay. Ang sinasabi lang dito, kapag daw multiplication and division, yung ating operation, the result should have the number of significant figures as the quantity having the least significant figure. So ano anat pinakabasit nga significant figure ka DJ given, iso dapat iti number of significant figures na DJ result. Yun yung sinasabi niya sa multiplication and division. Sa addition and subtraction naman, no sinot kabasitan ti number of decimal places, iso dapat matiti result na di result na isumot dapat iti number of decimal places na. Yun lang yung sinasabi nito pero hindi tayo magiging stricto dito, ano? Alright? Ayan. Hindi na natin yan, ano? Hindi na natin ito sasagutan. Alright? So I think doon na tayo nag-end na ba? Meron pa ba? Wala na. Okay? So, do you have any question? Do you have any questions? Tapos na ang ating chapter 1. So, mamaya, mag-open na yung quiz 1 ninyo doon sa MBLE. Mag-open na yung quiz 1 ninyo sa MBLE. You have 1 week. 1 week ba? Hindi ko alam. Hanggang Wednesday yata or Thursday yung ano. Madali lang naman yung mga lessons pa natin ngayon, ano? Sir, ipan mo ba MBLE dito yung PowerPoint? Haan. I-upload ko yung video. Video lang i-upload ko. Okay na yung video. Isan ko pa yung PowerPoint? Sir, dagidjay awan jay PDF ngamin mo ko. Sige, upload ko na rin yung PowerPoint natin. Okay, so i-end ko na yung ano yung recording natin para hindi masyadong malaki.